Ayo, ayo, what is groovy? What is good? It's your boy Papa Capes, and we are back with yet another Raid Shadow Legends video. Thank you so much to Raid for sponsoring this video and for hooking us up with our own download link that you can find in the description down below. Using that link directly supports me and directly supports the channel. If you choose to start with that link, you will instantly be greeted by Tholin Foulbeard right out the gates, and as you progress just a little bit, you'll then meet the likes of Uugo, Tagoar, and Mausoleum Mage. And right now is a fantastic time to start Raid. Using code RAID7 will get you an additional legendary on your account, that legendary being Pelops the Victor. Let's get into today's video. I've decided to start a little bit of a mini series on my channel, and we're going to call it the Champion Audit. What does that mean, you ask? Let me tell you. The Champion Audit is simple. It's going to be where I no longer simply build champs because of building champs, because of what I saw on the internet or what I saw another CC speaking about, or because of the way I feel, or whatever the case may be. It's where I ask a few simple questions. Should I actually build them? Not. Are they good? Not. Are they S tier? But are they actually worth building for my account right now? And the first champion we're going to be starting with is going to be the very first mythical champion that we will get access to on the account. Right there you can see Embry's 100 out of 100. And the first thing I'd like to do is just briefly glance at what he brings to the table. So what does this champion actually do? In their base form, there's an AoE that destroys targets max HP by 3%, stacks up to 30, also increases the duration of one debuff on all enemies by 1 turn. This effect cannot be resisted if enemies have necrosis stacks. A2 places a true fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn, has a 50% decrease attack debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. These effects cannot be resisted if enemies have any necrosis stacks. The A3 is another AoE that removes any stone skin buffs and replaces them with true fear buffs. Block debuffs buffs will be replaced with block buffs debuffs. So it reverses it in kind of a nice way. Also removes any buffs positively affecting the stats and replaces them with their mirrored debuff equivalent, such as increased attack is replaced by decreased attack. Buffs such as continuous heal and strengthen will be replaced by heal reduction and weaken. The mirrored debuffs will have the same duration as the buffs before they were replaced. Then steals 5% of each target's turn meter for each buff converted into a debuff by the skill. Also decreases the turn meters of all enemies by 20%. These effects cannot be resisted if enemies have any necrosis stacks. And then this is the metamorph right there. The Ascension, when you get him to level 3, whenever an enemy is killed, places a necrosis stack, 1 necrosis stack with all other enemies. Necrosis stacks cannot be resisted or blocked. Necrosis stacks can only be removed by reviving dead allies. This effect does not work against bosses and their minions. If there are multiple champions on the team with the skill, this effect will only activate once. So what exactly is necrosis, you ask? Thank you for asking, because I have no idea. Necrosis is when an enemy champion dies, a single necrosis stack is placed on all other alive enemies. When another champion dies, an additional necrosis stack will be placed on all other alive enemies, and so on. Each necrosis stack deals damage equal to 5% of a champion's max HP at the beginning of their turn. For example, if a champion has 3 necrosis stacks, damage equal to 15% of their max HP will be dealt to them at the beginning of their turn. Oh, necrosis stacks do not decrease upon activation at the beginning of a champion's turn, and necrosis is placed on a champion irrespective of the number of debuffs that are currently on them. Damage dealt by necrosis cannot be increased by other effects, and placement of a stone skin buff will remove necrosis. If there are any dead enemy champions in the battle after a stone skin buff expires, necrosis stacks equal to the number of dead enemy champions will be reapplied. When a dead enemy champion is revived, a single necrosis stack is removed from alive enemies. If multiple champions are revived, necrosis stacks will be removed equal to the number of champions revived. So thank you for asking that, because I had no idea, but now I know. This also has an aura of increasing all ally HP in all battles by 35%. And if we go through the metamorph to its second form, looks really cool though. I won't lie, it looks really cool. For Knight's Rev, kind of dope. A1, attacks one enemy, places an extra hit if the target has any necrosis stacks, also places a block revive debuff in this attack if this attack kills an enemy. AoE on the A2 deals double damage to enemies whose accuracy is lower than this champion's accuracy, ignores 50 50% of each enemy's defense whose accuracy is equal to or higher than this champion's accuracy. A3 swaps HP with an enemy. If the target is a boss, fully restores this champion's destroyed max HP and fully heals this champion instead. Each time the skill is used, increases this champion's ignore defense effect by 10% while in the alternate form, and it can stack up to 50%. The passive that you get a 3-star ascension on the alt form, when the champion dies, reflects damage equal to 50% of the fatal hit back to the attacker, including any surplus damage. Whenever an enemy is killed, places 1 necrosis stack on all other enemies. Necrosis stacks cannot be resisted or blocked. Necrosis stacks can only be removed by reviving dead allies. This effect does not apply against bosses and their minions. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. The skill will not activate in duplicate copies of this champion if this particular champion is dead. The active effect is that if this champion is about to be killed by a fatal hit, preempts that hit and instantly places a revive on death buff on them for 1 turn before the damage is taken. That's kind of cool. Embreeze, I am so excited for you. Your kit is phenomenal. So, in theory, Embreeze sounds absolutely fantastic. Not to say he'll also be the first mythical on my account. However, that isn't enough reason to just blindly jump in and decide to summon him and build him. So let's look at where he could possibly contribute to my account. And the important thing to note here is that champions don't just exist in a vacuum. Would he improve Dragon? Off the top of my head after reading his kit, I don't think he will improve Dragon. Would he improve Spider? I definitely think he'd improve Spider. Not exactly sure in theory. Like, I've read his kit, I kind of understand his kit, but I can't process it off the bat because that's also the first time that I've read his kit. But I do think that he will contribute to Spider and perhaps improve on my team. Again, not sure if he will help with Hydra. There's not really anybody there that block revive will help with the Hal swap. Not quite sure. So yeah, not quite sure with Hydra. Off the bat, I 100% know that he'll help with Ice Column. Definitely that block revive will come through and definitely help with Ice Column. He might even be able to solo Ice Column after reading his kit. I think that he's also going to positively contribute in Doom Tower. I definitely think his kit will bring substantial amount of value to my Doom Tower roster currently. As we're now trying to go through Doom Tower hard for the first time on my account, I do think that it'll help in Doom Tower and also Arena. I think that his kit will be a fantastic addition to my Arena team. I'm not quite sure who I will take out for him as yet, but I do think that he will provide instant value to my Arena team. Faction Wars, Knights Rev, we've just finished Faction Wars in terms of Knights Revenant. So yes, on normal Faction Wars, there is no immediate value that he can add. As you can see there, Knights Rev, 63 keys, but once we move on to hard Faction Wars, he is definitely going to be a champion that is going to impact my Knights Rev Faction Wars team immediately. Like, the main thing for me about these audits is the champion definitely going to be replacing someone, or am I just adding another project to an already overwhelming existing amount of projects on my account? That's what these audits are going to be for. Now, let's go through the investment check. Do we even have books to invest into the champion once we pull them? We've got 5 mythical books. So 5 mythical books is what we have currently, which is a lot more than I would have thought without having a mythical ever. And I'm not quite sure how mythicals work, but I do think you need to book each form independently. So just off the bat, in terms of books, we've got 5 mythical books. In terms of potions, we've got 74. 74 potions is a decent amount of potions for one champion. Being a mythical, taking it to level 60, I'm not quite sure off the top of my head of the exact math and the exact amount of potions that we'll need. But I mean, if we need potions, we'll just go and farm the Force Potion Keep and get the potions that we need. So that's not really a train smash. Can we afford to farm his masteries? Yes, of course. We can obviously take 800 gems and go through those masteries, or just farm it with energy, which we do have, especially if it's not during a fusion or anything like that. But it will most likely be during a fusion so that we can secure that in a champ chase event or something along those lines. The last question is, do we have the gear to build Embreeze? And we've got a substantial amount of gear. Whether it's perfect for him, whether it's got the stats that is needed, I'm not 100% sure that. I will obviously go through that once I build him. But we're sitting at 2,000 out of 2,000 gear pieces again. And we've got a substantial amount of stone skin. We've got tons of perception. We've got some lethal gear there as well, who I've seen some people build their Embreeze in. We've got some merciless as well, which might also be really good for Embreeze. And then reflex is another thing that he could be good in, but I don't have much reflex gear at all. And then perhaps a savage build. might work for him. And we don't have that much Savage gear, but I do also think that Embrys might be one of the best champions on my account, so I might look at removing gear from a champion that is going to substitute when it comes time to build him. I also do have a spare Wand of Submission that I can take off of perhaps Rector if needed, or perhaps Arbiter if needed, but we'll see if that's the relic that I even go for. And then we also have a 3-star soul for Embrys. In a recent event, we were able to get a 3-star soul for him, so that's also going to be fantastic that it's not just going to be Ascension, but also an Awakened Champion. So, can I afford to build this champion? Yes, to an extent, as a lot of it I need to go through blindfolded because I'm not able to just remember the gear that I've got access to on my account and note that these are the pieces that I've got, this is specifically what's going to work for him, this is how it's going to boost his stats. I don't have a brain like that. So I will literally first have to go into the champion, fiddle with his gear, use the filters, and then see if I can build him. But I'm quite confident that I do have some good gear sitting there, especially for an HP based champion, because most of my great gear are on my nukers. But if I'm not mistaken, he is an HP based champion right there, yes. And in his alt form, he's on HP and accuracy. So I definitely have gear that I haven't used because I don't have an epic, insane HP nuker on my account. So the reason why this is an important thing for me to go through, I feel, for myself, is that pulling a champion is free. Building that champion is where it becomes a bit expensive. I'd like to be realistic with myself, and I need to ask myself, am I excited to pull this champion because this champion's good, or am I more excited because it's a new champion? And you know we like new things, But there's a huge difference between those two things right there. If Embrys has somehow been sitting in my vault for 6 months, would I still be excited to build him? Or is there hype that's been added because it's my first mythical, it's a new champion, his kit seems new, first necrosis? So that's what I'm trying to do, just order through the champions before I build them. And that's why I want to make this a mini-series, to dive into these champions, not just for their kits, but for my account's kit. And if I'm able to invest, and if they're going to replace the champion in said content, or if it's just because they're a new champion, and that's why I'm choosing to invest. So, after going through this, I do think that Embrys is instantly going to add value to my account. I think it's going to impact my account as soon as I pull him. We get him to 6 stars, we ascend him, we awaken him to 3 stars, add the blessing, we get a relic on, we get him kitted out, and off the bat, like in Ice Golem, in Arena, these are areas in Spider, these are areas that is going to help immediately. Even Doom Tower, he's just going to help. I can't give you the specifics because I don't want to sit here in front of you and lie to you by saying X, Y, and Z is how it's going to impact. But I know that it's going to. I believe that wholeheartedly. So my verdict on this champion audit is yes. It is worth pulling him as soon as I possibly can and build him instantly as soon as he's pulled. No vault, no bench, no substitution. Build him and use him immediately. Okay, so now it's your turn. Let me know down in the comments below. What do you guys think? Am I sleeping on Embrys? Or am I overrating him? What am I missing? Have you built your Embrys? Were you excited to build him? If you were excited, why were you excited to build him? Because he was new, or because you knew that he was going to immediately add value and genuinely change the way you play on your account in the best way possible? So that's Champion Audit number 1 done and dusted, hopefully the first of many. I think it will be good for me to actually look into champions like this to gain perspective and to actually, before I choose to invest, not only go through their kits diligently, not only understand them better, but also involve you guys and get inputs from you guys. As you know, chatting with you, engaging with you after these videos goes live, literally my favorite thing to do and my favorite part of all of this. So let me know about your Embrys if you've got one. Let me know if you don't have one, whether you're excited to get him. Have you earned the frags? How many frags do you have? Let me know about everything. So remember, the important thing to note about this mini-series is that this is not about whether the champion is good or whether the champion is S tier or any of those things that are like generic. It's about whether they are good for my account, for where it's at right now. That's the important distinction we need to remember. And just like that, we are at the end of Champion Audit number 1. Thank you so much once again to Raid for sponsoring this video and for hooking us up with our own download link that you can find in the description down below. Using that link directly supports me, directly supports the channel, yo. Happiness is a choice. Kindness is absolutely free. Leave your mark, yo. Peace out.